Hidden in his attic, he healed broken wings, never dreaming the next visitor would change his life forever. The rain beat a gentle rhythm on the rooftop as 12-year-old Noah Winters crouched beside a cardboard box, brow furrowed in concentration. All around him, the attic buzzed with hushed life. The rustle of feathers, the scent of pine straw and hope. In the soft light of a desk lamp, tiny shadows fluttered. A sparrow with a bandaged wing, a dove softly cooing, a blackbird learning to hop again. Noah's attic was no ordinary place. It was his secret sanctuary, a world of cages, old towels, and the warm hum of healing. While most kids in Maple Hollow spent summer afternoons on bikes or in front of screens, Noah found his purpose high above the streets, mending the broken creatures that the world forgot. He worked with nimble, gentle hands, a splint here, a drop of honey water there. His best friend Max, sworn to secrecy, sometimes brought injured birds from the woods. "Dr. Winters, at your service," Max would joke, but he knew how seriously Noah took his mission. Noah had learned everything from his late grandfather, once the village's only vet. Grandpa Joe's attic tools and old field guides still lined the shelves, their spines worn and pages dog-eared with wisdom. The outside world didn't know. Not his parents, busy with work. Not his older sister, who thought attics were for spiders and dust. Noah didn't mind. This was his haven, a place where hope was pieced together one tiny wing at a time. It was just before dusk when Max appeared at the attic hatch, rain dripping from his jacket, cradling a trembling blue jay. "Noah, you're not going to believe what I found," he whispered, breathless. Noah cleared a spot among the towels. "Let's see." The bird's wing was bent at an odd angle. Noah's hands were steady as he inspected it, remembering his grandfather's lessons. Gentleness first, always. Max hovered close, anxious. "Will she make it?" "She will now," Noah assured him, splinting the delicate bone with a sliver of ice pop stick and wrapping it with gauze. He gave the bird a name, June, because she'd been found in the rain. Thunder rolled in the distance. Max winced. "Big storm tonight. My mom says the river's rising." Noah listened to the rain intensify. "Better keep the attic warm. We'll check on her tomorrow." The boys sat together as the rain hammered the shingles, sharing peanut butter sandwiches and talking softly to the birds. For a while, the attic felt like the safest place in the world, a kingdom built on kindness and second chances. That night, as Noah lay awake beneath the slanted ceiling, he wondered if anyone else ever felt as alive as he did here, healing the broken pieces others had left behind. The storm crashed through Maple Hollow with wild fury. Wind rattled the windows, rain pooled beneath doors. In the darkness, Noah woke to a sound he'd never heard before, a sharp, urgent knocking at the attic window. Heart pounding, he crept across the creaking floorboards. Maybe a branch had blown loose? He pulled aside the curtain, expecting only shadows. Instead, he saw a face. A girl, soaked to the bone, clung to the edge of the rooftop, her eyes wide with fear and pleading. Her tangled hair clung to her face. Her knuckles were white on the gutter. Noah hesitated for only a second before unlatching the window and pulling her in. She collapsed onto the attic floor, shivering and breathless. "Thank you," she gasped, rainwater streaming from her clothes. "Please. I didn't know where else to go." Noah stared in shock, the birds fluttering around them. He'd mended countless wings, but never before had a human landed, desperate and lost, in his secret attic sanctuary. And in that moment, everything Noah knew about rescue, hope, and second chances was about to change forever. For a long moment, the attic was silent, except for the wild beating of rain and the soft calls of the rescued birds. Noah knelt beside the stranger, unsure what to say. She was maybe a year older than him, thin, pale, and shaking from cold. Her jeans were torn at the knee, her sweatshirt several sizes too big. Noah grabbed an old quilt and wrapped it around her shoulders. "Are you hurt?" he whispered. She shook her head, teeth chattering. "Just cold and scared." Noah found a mug and poured her some of the tea he kept for late-night vigils. As she sipped, he saw her glance around in wonder at the cages and baskets. The storm outside seemed a world away up here. "What's your name?" he asked. She hesitated, staring down at her wet shoes. "It's Lila." Max, who had come upstairs to check on the storm, froze when he saw her. "Noah, who's she?" Noah stood between them. "She needs help. That's what we do, right?" Lila managed a small, grateful smile. "I didn't know where else to go. I saw the light. Please don't tell anyone I'm here." Noah promised. He didn't know why, but he believed her, deep down where he'd kept all his own broken things safe. Lila slept that night on a pile of old blankets, curled beside June the blue jay. Noah and Max kept watch, feeding the birds and sharing whispered questions about their mysterious guest. In the early morning, the storm passed. Pale sunlight crept through the window, glinting off makeshift perches and tin cages. Lila awoke with a start, eyes darting around as if she'd already forgotten where she was. Noah brought her bread and jam. "Are you from around here?" he asked, trying to sound casual. She hesitated. "Sort of. I've been staying different places. My mom, she's gone. I just needed somewhere warm." Max looked nervous, but Noah set his jaw. "You can stay here for now. We'll figure something out." Over the next hours, Lila helped tend to the birds. She moved gently, never flinching at broken wings or frightened flutters. She even told them names for each bird, stories of where they might have flown if only they'd been whole. Noah realized that sometimes people with broken hearts understood broken wings better than anyone. Days passed, and Lila became part of the attic's hidden world. She was quiet, but her laughter, when it finally came, was like sunlight after rain. Together, the three friends mended beaks and set splints, dreaming of the day every bird would fly free. Still, a shadow hung over the attic. Lila always jumped at sudden noises. She avoided windows and asked about escape routes. Noah wanted to ask what she was running from, but was afraid to push her away. One night, after Max had gone home and the birds were finally quiet, Noah found Lila sitting in the lamplight, gently stroking June the blue jay. "Will they all get better?" she asked softly. Noah nodded. "We do everything we can. Sometimes it takes a while." She looked up at him, her eyes filled with old sorrow and a fragile kind of hope. "I wish people could be fixed as easily as birds." Noah placed a hand over hers. "Maybe we can, or maybe we just help each other try." They sat together in silence, the attic full of sleeping birds and the gentle hush of understanding, the kind of promise that needed no words. As summer lengthened, the attic became a world apart, a place of healing, laughter, and sometimes whispered fears. Lila learned each bird's habits, Max built better perches, and Noah kept a careful journal of every recovery. The attic's warmth became their own nest, but outside, Maple Hollow buzzed with rumors. Neighbors wondered about missing bread, extra blankets drying on the winter's line, and the faint glow from attic windows at night. Noah's parents, busy as always, barely noticed the late evenings or Noah's extra trips to the hardware store. But the town, small as it was, had a way of noticing everything. One afternoon, Lila spotted a police cruiser rolling slowly past the house. She flinched, eyes wide with old fear. Noah took her hand. "It's just patrol," he whispered. "You're safe here." But in his heart, Noah knew secrets. Even the best ones couldn't stay hidden forever. It was a morning like any other, until a loud knock thundered at the winter's front door. Noah froze at the attic window, heart pounding. Max pressed his face to the glass, watching as two police officers stepped onto the porch. Downstairs, Noah's mother called his name. "Noah, you have visitors." He hesitated, then crept down the ladder. In the kitchen, his mother stood wringing her hands, the officers solemn at the table. "We're looking for a missing child," one officer said gently. "Have you seen a girl, maybe 12 or 13, traveling alone?" Noah's throat went dry. Lila, listening from the attic above, pressed herself flat behind a trunk, June the blue jay quiet in her hands. He shook his head. "No, sir, no one here but us." The officers thanked them, leaving a flyer with Lila's photograph and a phone number. "If you see anything, please call." When they were gone, Noah raced back to the attic. Lila was crying, the flyer crushed in her hand. "They're still looking," she whispered. "They'll take me away if they find me." Noah knelt beside her, fierce with loyalty. "You're not alone. We'll find a way." For the first time, Lila let herself believe him. Days passed in nervous waiting. The attic felt smaller, every sound sharper, every night longer. But in the midst of worry, something miraculous happened. June the blue jay fluttered to the edge of her cage, hopped once, then took a shaky leap. Her wings strong, her flight true. Noah, Max, and Lila watched, breath held, as the bird soared around the attic, landed, then soared again. Lila laughed through her tears, her own spirit rising with June's flight. They carried the cage to the attic window. Lila opened the latch, whispering, "You're ready. Go home." June hesitated, looked back, then launched herself into the open sky. The friends stood side by side, watching until the blue jay disappeared into the treetops. "That's how it's supposed to be," Lila said quietly. "We fix what's broken. We let it go." And in that moment, hope felt possible again, even for hearts that still carried secret wounds. The summer sun was sinking when Lila made her decision. She had spent weeks hiding, healing, and finally belonging. But every knock on the door, every flash of a patrol car, reminded her that this happiness was borrowed time. That evening, after tending to the birds and sharing dinner with Noah and Max, Lila stood at the attic window, gazing out at Maple Hollow. She breathed in the scent of warm dust and old paper, then turned to Noah. "I can't stay forever," she whispered. "It isn't fair to you or your family. I need to face what's out there." Noah's eyes filled with tears. "You don't have to go. We can figure something out, my parents maybe." But Lila shook her head, gentle but sure. "This attic gave me a second chance. But real healing is going back, no matter how scared I am." They hugged tightly, the attic silent except for the soft coos of sleepy birds. Max joined them, fierce in his loyalty. "We'll help you," he promised, "however you need." And so, with trembling hands, Lila wrote a note for the police. "I am safe. I was never alone. Thank you for looking for me. I'm ready to come home." Noah walked with her to the edge of town at dawn, where Lila waited for the officers beneath the big sycamore. As she left, she squeezed Noah's hand, pressing something into his palm. A feather, blue as hope. Lila's return was gentle, not the storm she'd feared. The officers welcomed her with careful kindness. Her aunt, her new guardian, held her close and promised that Maple Hollow would always be her home if she chose. For Noah and Max, the attic felt emptier without Lila, but their friendship grew even deeper. The story of the secret bird hospital became a legend among neighborhood kids. Some nights, Lila would visit after supper, helping with splints and telling the birds her own tales of healing and courage. Noah's parents finally discovered the sanctuary, astonished by what their son had built. Instead of anger, they felt pride, and with their blessing, Noah and Max opened the Featherlight Clinic, a real place for all the small, broken creatures, feathered or otherwise, in town. People brought wounded birds, stray kittens, even wild rabbits. And every time Lila joined them, the attic filled with laughter and memories. No longer a hiding place, but a home for mending. Seasons changed. The attic's windows frosted over in winter, then opened wide to let in the green breath of spring. Noah grew taller. Max became a whiz with carpentry, building better cages and even a treehouse clinic behind the house. Lila thrived with her aunt, but Maple Hollow and the attic were always her North Star. Every year, the three friends celebrated June Day, the anniversary of the Blue Jay's flight, by setting one mended bird free and making wishes for those still waiting to heal. One bright morning, as they opened the window for a little robin ready to soar, Noah looked at Lila and Max, feeling the fullness of what they'd built. "We started with broken wings," he said softly, "but maybe we were all a little broken." Lila squeezed his hand, smiling. "And maybe that's how we learned to fly." The robin lifted into the sky, three hearts watched its flight, and in the attic, filled with sunlight, memories, and the promise of second chances, they knew that for every lost thing, there could be a way home.